Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Dragon Ball Legends video. My name is DFree, and here today with a new update, we officially have Zenkai Raditz live on the game. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys some of the top tips and tricks and stuff like that, things that you guys need to focus on when it comes to farming Raditz and ways you guys can optimize your usage and stuff like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hit that subscribe, of course, if you are new to the channel for more content as well as notifications so you don't miss anything we upload here on the channel. Overall, it's a very, very simple process. Basically, long story short, you pretty much just need to complete hard mode and just spam this stage at the very, very end here. That's pretty much going to do it for you. Basically, throughout 10 energy, I get anywhere between like 600 and 700, or 700, excuse me, of the Awakening Z power, right? So obviously you need thousands, so it's going to take a while, but it is what it is. This is pretty much the main way to do it, but there are a couple of other ways to go about it. And again, this is in the new revamped version of the Raditz event overall. So as you see, I got 79. That's typically what you're going to get. So on top of that, though, there is a once per day stage that you can play here, which I believe it dropped 100. Don't quote me on that, but it might have been a little more than that. Either way, you can do this on a daily basis. Once per day, you can play the far end bottom stage here. So keep that in mind as well. And again, this is on hard difficulty, not normal, only on hard. So that's pretty much going to be the main thing. And if there was ever a character I would say don't rush in Zenkai, I mean, I'm going to do it because obviously I want to do a video and stuff like that. If there was ever a character I'd say like don't rush and like not even just Zenkai, but get all the resources for, you know, they have the free units so you can, you know, farm their stars and stuff, whatever. It was Raditz. Like, he is not spectacular. He'll be nice, especially for free players as a option for their teams, but he's not spectacular, and I definitely don't think you need to rush, especially because you can do this on a daily basis. And the event it's revamped, and it was an event that didn't have a timer in the first place, so it looks like it still isn't going to have a timer on it, just like these other ones down here, which, by the way, will eventually get revamped as well in the same manner as Raditz and introduce the same type of thing for those. So stay tuned for a video going over what I think they'll do for these EXs and stuff like that. Anyways, that being said, keep that in mind. That's pretty much the best way. Now, when it comes to Raditz's event, they do also give you a lot of resources here in missions. I made a point of not collecting these throughout my own grind for Raditz. So we're going to cover this here and then go over why I think Raditz isn't spectacular and pretty much just review the unit. So if you guys enjoyed the video, hit the thumbs up, by the way. So like I said, there are resources here as well. For the record, it does appear you can actually farm the or get enough copies of Raditz to get him to 14 star. I haven't tested that, obviously, because I can't actually use these bonuses like this 50 here. I can't use because mine's already 14 star, or red 7 as you would call it, or 7 plus, whatever. So keep that in mind. But we do have actual like Awakening Z power here for the Zenkai Awaken at the very top at 100 drops, right? You can see the difference between the icons for them. So there are going to be some here for you as well. And then when you actually get a certain number of Awakening Z power, they start actually giving you these Zenkai souls that you would need for Raditz. And we're going to actually take a look at Raditz's board as well and see if he actually by chance does need less, because they're giving a lot less Awakening Z power than a Sparking would need. So we're going to just kind of take a look at that as well. So also there's also about 1,000 CC available here as well. So in the revamp overall, pretty cool to see that. Let's go ahead and pick up all this stuff. I might even actually unlock Zenkai 2 with this. It's going to be really close. 1,200 extra that I couldn't use. I told you I didn't need I did not need that at all. Did I unlock Zenkai 2? No, it's pretty close, I bet. Anyways, let's go over Raditz's board really quick here and just kind of go from there. We're going to go back over to the far end stage. And can you scroll? What the heck? Scroll. What in the... Okay, do I need to zoom in? Okay, we'll zoom in. It was already there, technically. Anyways, so here's Raditz. Let's see his board. All right, let's go over here to the far left, see how he's looking. We're going to unlock this. Okay, the drop, you actually only need 39 of the Super Soul. Okay, that's actually not that bad. Okay. You really don't need a ton of resources, it seems. Yeah, he's not using a ton of resources. I don't have some of the regular souls. I need to go get them. But he doesn't use a ton of resources. Okay. Yeah, okay. It looks like it's a little bit less. Don't quote me on it, but it does look like it's a little bit less. I mean, overall, in this batch right here, we're only using a few hundred of the actual, like, Zenkai soul. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good, actually. Okay. So, yeah, as you would expect, I mean, with him being an EX character, that would make sense, right? So, again, overall, the process is just more or less farming that same stage. Let's see if we can actually, yeah, I'm able to unlock Zenkai 2 really quick here, so we'll just do that really quick live in the video. It's, like, literally right here. Now, with the new update, they did introduce this energy tank system. If you have any extra, like, energy tickets or whatever, be sure to go to the exchange shop and then go to the recycle shop and exchange those for actual, like, energy tank energy, I guess, right? So you guys can just kind of put it there. And as you you see it, is it actually alleviates a lot of the in-between process. You don't have to choose which ticket you want to use, then how much of the ticket you want to use, then wait for it to say that your energy was restored, and then from there use the skip tickets. It's a lot quicker. It's a lot quicker. With what would normally be like an hour of skip ticketing sometimes, depending on how far you need to go, I'm sure this probably cuts that process at least in half. So here's Zenkai 2. And that's just the process overall for Raditz. You do need to run this a lot of times, so I still need to do this for another like 20 minutes at least. So I don't even know if I, honestly, I don't even know if I have the resource. I don't think I have enough energy at all. I know I have the skip tickets probably, but I don't have the energy for it, so I'll probably wind up using CC to finish him off. So there's that. Okay, last thing is when it comes to Raditz, here's a look at him right now. With the stats, he's not fully boosted. Obviously, we have ways to go, so I'm not really worried about that right now. So a couple of things with Raditz. He's an old school type of unit where they kind of did this weird thing where it was a range type character. They'd give them double strikes, or like if they were like, actually you saw this with Zenkai 18. Being a melee type, they gave her double blasts, things like that. And it's not particularly bad, I guess, with Saiyan teams, but his entire kit is predicated on using blast cards, so it's kind of weird that he would, you know, need the blast focus. So keep that in mind. This does buff his blast power. This one here does a bonus in damage, and then further, by changing strikes into blasts, gives him another 10% blast damage for each blast in your hand, which is good. This is actually a really good unlock key card, a very good green card, and he'll be able to get a lot of damage after he uses this. But if he doesn't use that green, he's going to be in an unfortunate spot because he doesn't have a ton of ways to get damage outside of the green. So the main ability restores ki, it buffs his ki recovery and also reduces the blast card cost. So the ki recovery buff is not time gated. There's no restriction on it. The blast card buff as well is going to be a 15 count restriction on that. So you only have it for 15 counts. And he automatically just restores ki. So everything here is centered around ki management, right? So it would have been better if there was something else in there because it's all kind of the same type of language, right? Again, ki management right there. Zenkai ability is pretty much just for himself on like a Saiyan team for the most part. It's for blue EXs only. So again, it's so people understand how this works. You have to be a blue EX. It's not blue characters and EX characters. It has to be literally a blue EX, okay? This is how all Zenkai ability works. All of them, except for Legends Road characters where they say any Legends Road character gets their buffs. But if you're using any Zenkai characters, they all have the stipulation of color and either rarity now, because rarity is a thing with this, but it's mainly just tags. For example, like the purple Scouter Vegeta, I think that's on my team, his is purple and Saiyan. You can't use purple only. It has to be a purple Saiyan character. So it's a lot more selective than you would think. And I explain this all the time because there's always people that don't understand how it works, right? So up at the literal max, I believe this goes up to 30%, maybe 35, but I think it's 30, and still double attack at Zenkai 7. So keep that in mind. We can't technically see that here, but just know that. By the way, with the next upgrade, you do get sleeves. If you're wondering, you can get the sleeves for Raditz at Zenkai 3. So this is not bad, but it's also not great either. The good news is, by saying Super Warrior, Sun Family, and Regen, you're going to hit a large portion of the units in the game, but you're going to ignore a lot of hybrids as well, because you're not, assuming they're like Trunkses or whatever. Vegeta Family is going to be an outlier. Lineage, if you run into that or whatever, it's going to be an outlier. Future units are going to be an outlier a lot of the time. Not always, like Vegito Blue fusions, whatever. But if you're versus these characters, you are going to get that bonus, right? So it's not bad, but again, could have been a little better, but it's not the worst thing because he has 4 opportunities for powerful uniques, right? So at this point, he only has these 2 right now, plus 30% of blast damage inflicted by allied Saiyans, and then also reduces his own damage received by 20%. These 2 effects are pretty good. Now, a couple of things. It's only for the first 30 counts, so allied Saiyans, including himself, get 30% more blast damage for the first 30 counts of the battle. I'm going to try to be optimistic about that because obviously it's a good thing to have that, but the reality is 30 counts is very short. Even if matches sometimes can seem like they don't last 30 counts, that's still very short, right? He also is able to allow himself to tank a little bit in the first 30 counts only. That's another downside of this, is that if you happen to hit outside of that period, you lose both of these, right? So that's 30 counts. And sometimes with Vegito's combos or like Kefla's combos can take up literally 20 counts. So like, what are you going to do? It's almost dead immediately. So it's a little too short in my opinion. It would have been infinitely better, I guess, if it had to wait 30 counts and you get it for the rest of the battle, right? So here's Zenkai 3. You unlock this with the board for Zenkai 3. Inflicts enemy dash speed downgrade plus 10% of damage received for 15 counts every time he uses the blast arts. That's good. It's going to stack. And the good news is it's not selective. It's just general damage received debuff. That's good. That means any unit can benefit from that if you switch into another character. But again, more of the same. I'm not seeing where he's going to be able to do much damage himself, right? So that's more or less what it is. And last unique here, this is where he gets at Zenkai 6, applies the following effects itself when he enters the battlefield. Randomly destroys one of your cards and draws a green card. We talked about how the green card is where he gets his damage, right? He has to have the green card. He does that twice, so that's good. He gets 30% damage inflicted, can't be stacked, and then right here, increases card draw speed by 1 level. So when you completely look at the entire kit for Raditz, he has good key management here. His green card is, again, where he gets all of his damage. He has no ability to tank outside of the first 30 counts of the battle. He's going to be heavily reliant on his own stats, which coincidentally, he also doesn't buff his defense in any way with the Zenkai ability, which would have helped him tremendously. His Z ability does help with overall bulk of the team and himself, obviously, buffing this HP of Sands. And more or less, you have the key management up there. You have card draw speed. You have damage inflicted down here at the very bottom. If you can get him in a combo, probably off of a Zenkai Kid Goku switch, and you use a bunch of blast cards, which, by the way, if you're using Zenkai Kid Goku and this guy, you're not going to have very many blast cards in the first place, which is why it's a very big deal that he force draws a green, but you still have to kind of have the clunky combo of the switch and then go for like another card first and then use the green, then go for another card. Like, you have to do things like that to play around this. But if you can get him going, he'll do all those debuffs and he'll be in a really good spot. And if you happen to be versus these types of characters, he'll be good. So more or less, like I said, not anything spectacular. Definitely not a character that I think anybody needs to rush to get completely built out, whether you're free or not. But he's definitely worth it, is what I'd say. But again, nothing to rush to, long story short. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this overall guide and another further breakdown for him. I did one yesterday, but I want to go a little bit more in depth on Raditz because I was kind of shooting through that video. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up, hit that subscribe so you can for more content, and I'll see all of you in the next one. Peace, everybody.